It's always a pleasure to see you, and this is a great occasion to talk about Sherlock Holmes in London. Do you feel it's captured the London spirit at the time and how we feel about it today?
Yeah, I think there's a wonderful kind of gritty earthiness about the look of it. It's not completely real. There's a heightened feel to it, so things have been played up like, I think the music brings out a much more gypsy quality of Victorian times, bearing in mind the empire was growing, and there's a little sequence with a circus which is quite unusual and exotic, and but there are some great shots of carriages and, you know, people in fantastic costumes, so you really get a sense of the city at that time.
Well, it finally feels like the technology is helping the imagination of the readers, if that makes any sense. Because I always feel like those authors have written for cinema, although it was not at all contemporary with them.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that? It's finally, you know, it's like the book comes to life finally.
Yeah, personally, I think if you're going to use CGI, you know, computer-generated stuff, how wonderful to be able to do it, to recreate a city, how it must have looked, rather than just create 10,000 orcs or something, you know what I mean? I think people are also becoming very used to it, so 10,000 orcs is no longer, you know, or 10,000 sort of aliens or whatever is no longer as interesting as the ability to recreate something that is fascinating.
I talk about recreating, you talk about Lord Blackwood and a character that is quite complex in a way, but also very fun to play. How do you approach that?
I think, first of all, you have to, in something like this, you have to make sure that he's an equal adversary, because Holmes won't really work unless he's got a good case to solve. It's fascinating that, and it took me a while to work out why, although everything else is drawn from the source material, why Blackwood isn't. And I think it's because it allowed the filmmakers to make him completely outlandish. So he's wildly bad, you know, he's murdered people before the film starts, people think he's in league with the devil, that he has supernatural powers. It's almost bigger than Conan Doyle would have invented himself. But in doing that, obviously, it means that the case that Sherlock solves is a tricky one.
But Robert Downey Jr. said something interesting yesterday at the premiere, that the Sherlock Holmes character has set that platform, the tone for all those, you know, inspector characters and all those police crime stories.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah, he's the godfather of the modern detective. It was the first time we were allowed into the soul and the mind of a detective, and we became interested in detectives. You know, before then, I'm not sure people were that interested. Conan Doyle just realised that, you know, you could combine the element of a whodunit and excite people with finding out how to solve a crime with the actual person solving it himself. And if you think now, all the detectives, they've all got, you know, problems at home, they've got alcohol problems, they've got this, they've got that, you know, and it all stems from Sherlock Holmes.
Blackwood haven't been written but been invented for the film. Do you feel it gave you more of liberty to create him, or would you have preferred having a character that is well known to the audience?
Well, that's an interesting point, because a lot of people felt that Moriarty was Holmes's adversary and should be in this first film. I mean, he may appear in the second, probably will if they make one. But I'm not sure I would have liked to have played Moriarty more than Blackwood. I think Moriarty exists within, you know, parameters that are in the novels and short stories, so really you're playing what's written. The idea that I had the opportunity to play something that was, you know, totally invented meant he could be even badder, you know.
You spoke yesterday about secret societies when we were on the red carpet, how you can research them, and there's so much reference to different things. Is it easy to get lost into the meaning of secret societies, how many there are, what was true, what was not, you know, is it a bit confusing?
Well, we shot in a place called Freemasons Hall, which is a Masonic lodge. It's the headquarters of the Masons, I think, in the UK. It's a fascinating building, incredible looking. Have you been in there?
Yes, I have.
You know how impressive it is, and yet the society is completely secretive. And your first thought when you walk into that place is, what is this? You know, and it's only the secrecy. I mean, I'm not convinced necessarily that these societies really are running the country and they really are dabbling in the occult. I just think they're secret, so people think, what's going on? But it lends itself to a story like this because it can be portrayed as mysterious and unusual.